This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking customers.
You're always the stupid it is you take lessons. Just calm down.
Oh, fuck you!
You can't handle the truth.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
In other words, be nice, asshole. Yeah, you have no idea the amount of trial and error when COVID first hit and we started using this website. The number of times it took for us to figure this out.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked it worked the first
I can
try.
imagine there's so many
So-
times something should take 5 minutes to do on the computer and it winds up taking me like 25, 30 minutes.
Exactly. So welcome to another episode of Q as in Cucumber. I'm Laura Mack, and I have the amazing our first fan interview, basically, of the show. I have the wonderful Alexandra Trigilli. Am I saying it right?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really
Perfect.
nice.
Perfect.
I'm happy to
Thank
be
you
here.
so much. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. Unfortunately, Tanya's got some craziness going on right now. Her son's girlfriend is pregnant, and she got COVID.
Oh.
So she's just, everybody's freaking out.
Oh gosh, I hope
And-
everything is okay. It's
Yeah, thank you. I
crazy.
think it'll be fine. I think it's just, it's a panic. You don't
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
this is
I
gonna
mean,
play
I
out. We
myself
just don't have.
tested positive at one point. I had to go in for eye surgery, and prior to the surgery, I had to have a COVID test.
Right.
Surprise, surprise, came back positive. I had no symptoms really, or mild. I just thought it was my usual like allergies time of year, and yeah, so I had to go
Yeah.
back 2 weeks later, and it was positive. I mean, it was negative, so everything went off okay after that. But yeah, it's scary.
Wow.
It's scary.
Yeah, it very much is. So we're sending all of our love to
Yes,
Tanya.
yes.
But this story, this Theranos story waits for no one.
Crazy.
And we've-
Bonkers. Yeah.
So tell me, what is your experience with, like, how did you first get interested in this topic of Theranos or
Yeah.
Elizabeth Holmes? Like, what caught you? What caught your attention about it?
Okay, blame COVID. Boredom last year. I didn't come to know it until last year. I'd
Mhm.
watched everything else that was on Hulu. They happened to be showing the HBO documentary, The Inventor. Did
Mhm.
you ever see that one?
Yep, absolutely.
So I had kept seeing it, scrolling by and whatnot, and I just put it on one day, and I just could not believe what I was seeing. It was just so crazy to me. The way she got away with so much. Nobody asked questions. Nobody vetted her in any way. Just crazy. And then from there, I got the book. I got the audiobook from my library, Bad Blood,
Mhm. Yep.
and listened to that. And that was more bonkers, and just
Oh, I know.
could not believe what I was hearing. And yeah, just from there, I just tried to devour all the videos I could find and articles, and then something else distracted me.
Yeah.
And then when I looked into it again recently, I realized that the trial was finally coming, because every once in a while I would look into it and nothing was happening, and then come to find out she got married and she's pregnant and all this craziness is happening, and I'm like back into it again. Like, this is top shelf for me now. Again.
Absolutely. That's really kind of how we came to it as well.
Yeah. Just
I first came across this. I had started a new job, and for that job, they sent me from Colorado Springs up for 2 weeks to Madison, Wisconsin for the initial like training. So I was alone, and it was July. in Madison. It's just humid and sticky and gross. And I was
Yeah,
there
can
kind of
imagine.
trapped in this hotel room with nothing to do every day. And I came across the book and I put our deep dive that we did on Theranos, I put that together over the course of that 2 weeks.
Oh,
Just, I didn't have
wow.
my son, I didn't have my husband, I didn't have laundry to do. I could just sit and focus on it. And that's how initially I got into it was being I guess we kind of came to it the same way. We were both bored.
Yeah, yeah, just
We
boredom.
both
I
just
know,
happened to
thank
kind of
COVID
stumble on it.
and whatever.
So I was curious because how did you feel about, because I didn't know when we first started talking, we agreed to do this, that you actually live in Arizona.
Hmm.
Did you, in Arizona, they really treated as like the guinea pig for
Yeah, I didn't live
this.
here
Like they
then.
got,
Yeah, I moved out here.
oh,
I moved out here the end of 2013. I had no knowledge of it at the time when I moved out here. You know, when you first move out, the first year is like, a little hectic.
yeah, you're
So
just trying to get your
I
bearings.
didn't know anything about it. But yeah, Walgreens. Yeah, let's talk about Walgreens because Walgreens could have been a
Wow.
stopgap, and
And should have been.
they just, yeah, they just dropped the ball. I mean, from not even listening to their own investigator, when he told them things weren't right. They went along with Theranos when they said, we don't want him at the meetings. He asked too many questions. So they just said, okay. And, they didn't listen to him. He told them, and they didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
They never checked the machine. They were too afraid. I love the part about being paranoid that CVS was going to get the contract. I mean, that's just too funny and pathetic at the same time, I think. It's just crazy.
It really was.
Yeah.
That was one of the wildest parts of the story of that.
Yeah.
And I remember in our deep dive, Tanya specifically saying, "Does Walgreens not like just do its due diligence?
They,
Does it
they
not? Does it just
didn't.
hand out millions of
The
dollars
the
just over
candy
because
was,
somebody asked?"
the coins were too shiny. The candy was too sweet. They just couldn't see past the money or the no the being the first. They didn't want
Mm-hmm.
anybody else to get this. They wanted to be excluded. They didn't even like the fact that they were in talks with Safeway.
Right.
Thank God for Safeway backing out. They finally said
Yeah.
enough, and that didn't go far. But yeah, Walgreens. Thank you, Walgreens.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I live right a block away from a Walgreens. I love my pharmacy. They're amazing. But I was like, really?
Yeah,
Walgreens?
yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
Come on. Let's this is yeah. We kind of dropped the ball here.
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
Oh, so what are you, the one thing I did want to ask about from you is what are you most curious about from the
Mm,
trial? Like,
from the trial.
I
You mean as far as what's going to come out or procedure? Like, I'm curious why they are not letting the patients really fully testify. Like, they're allowed to say that they got a certain result, and then they went back and another lab gave them a different result, and it was very different. But the lady who thought she was getting a miscarriage can't say how it made her feel. The guy who thought he had prostate cancer can't say how devastating. The HIV, like there was so many devastating results that came out of those Theranos tests, and they're not allowed to
mhm.
say how it made them feel, how devastated they were for 2 weeks, till their doctor told them everything was okay. And that I don't understand
Yeah.
why.
No, me neither.
I'm curious why the database was dismantled. If, oh my goodness, there could have been exculpatory evidence on that database for us. Well, why did you dismantle it? You know,
Yeah.
you got nobody to blame but yourself. She's going to try and pin it on the prosecution that they lost the evidence that they gave them. But they gave them useless evidence. They
Mhm.
gave them evidence that they couldn't unlock.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm
And why say she
curious.
hasn't been charged with destruction of or
I
tampering with
don't know.
evidence?
I don't
I'm
know.
still
Obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence. I don't know. Probably another handful of
It's just
charges.
amazing what
Yeah.
she's not being charged with.
I don't
Like
know.
what she's not being charged with is also
Yeah.
kind of like, how does this woman, what does she do to people that
I don't know.
somehow
I don't see it from her interviews. First of all, every time she tells the story of what prompted her, the whole uncle story, like I've never seen anyone tell a less emotional story about losing a loved one.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like she put more emotion into telling why she was afraid of needles. You know what I mean? Like, and
That's a
then
good point.
she tells it so flat that she remembers her uncle and she remembers when she went to visit him and yada 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 in that same monotone voice. Come to find out, didn't John Carreyrou say that she was not close to the uncle, that that was phony and false? I don't
Yeah,
know.
her family members were like, "Yeah, he died, but they weren't close."
They weren't close.
We don't know what she's
Right.
talking about.
So really this was all about her being afraid of needles.
Pretty much. Yeah.
and bringing back the family legacy. I feel like her family legacy, you know, the family, right? Bringing back the glory, bringing
Mhm.
back the wealth. I don't remember if you dove into that in your, because I've listened to so many that I don't remember if you covered that. But yeah, I think being a part of that family legacy definitely put some pressure on her to like
I
keep
absolutely
going. I'm not going to give up on
agree.
this dream. This is my legacy. This is what I'm meant to do. And it blinded her to everyone who told her it was impossible. She just wouldn't listen because she
Mhm.
just had to make it. It just had to because she had no other choice. In her head, I feel.
Right. But I feel like through this week's the episode that John Carreyrou put out this week, that one was by far the most interesting episode so far.
Yeah, it wasn't the
Because this is
juiciest,
touched on.
but it was interesting.
Right, it wasn't the juiciest,
Right.
but it was interesting to hear because throughout the book, throughout the podcast, throughout the documentary, the thing that was never really explained in such like clear terms as John Carreyrou did in this episode was her and Sonny's belief that this was not a medical product,
Right.
that this was a medical ish, like medical technology. Their attitude was that it was a software issue. Understanding that this week was kind of eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
Because I just kept thinking the same thing. Like, why the hell did she think that this would just work? And I realized through that episode this week that I feel like Sonny convinced her that, yeah, this is just a software problem.
Right.
It's not a
Because
science
that's the background.
problem.
He can't. What did he
It's
say?
a software
When you're a
problem.
hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that they really seem to believe that and still do, she seems to believe that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She, even after the whole thing fell to pieces, she was still saying, "I'll get up and do it again. I'll build it again, and I'll build it again, and I'll build it again." Because what is it? She bases so much on Edison, and one of his quotes is, "I'll fail 10,000 times, but we'll work it. We'll make it work on the 10,001st." She believes that. She believes that if she just does it enough times,
Oh,
it will work.
absolutely.
And that's what I think is the toughest thing, is because I think she believed in the dream, but she also lied through her teeth at the same time. Like it can't be one or the other. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Like,
Right.
if she believed the dream, then she can't be found guilty. But you can believe the dream and lie to people about how far you are along in it. And that's what she did. I mean, I don't know. That's another
Right.
thing I'm curious about is did she ever really stop believing the dream and then just was too far into it and couldn't stop lying? Or does she really still believe the dream, or is she just being stubborn and single-minded like she always is? You know, she's hard to stop.
It's funny that you say that because there's this article, I have it pulled up on my screen here, that I found this morning that about blew my hair back. Okay. This is from Vanity Fair. It's by Nick Bilton, and this paragraph just about killed me. It said, believe it or not, that's not the most astonishing thing in Elizabeth Holmes' story. According to Carrie Rue, Holmes is currently waltzing around Silicon Valley, meeting with investors, hoping to
Oh my
raise money for an entirely new startup idea.
Oh my gosh. I didn't get a chance to read it
Right now,
yet. Yeah.
currently.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, she's a true
This
believer.
woman's got to be stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't
She's
imagine she'll get
psychotic, in my
investors
opinion.
though. I cannot imagine that anyone would be willing to spend money with her.
I can't either, but honestly, the fact that she still has people defending her. The other thing that came out this
Yes.
week, apparently at the trial, there are literally like Elizabeth Holmes
Lookalikes.
groupies
Yep.
that are dressing like
Yep.
her and like yelling stuff at her as she's walking in. Eh, Who, what in the name of Bailey Sarian? Get better idols.
I love
That's
Bailey Zarian.
ridiculous.
I love her.
Don't you?
I
Oh my
love her
God.
so
I
much.
love,
She's the
gosh,
best.
all hail Bailey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I adore her.
Yeah.
But what she's like, get better idol. Who is idolizing? There are so many more people
Yeah.
who you could idolize. Why?
Yeah.
Why this woman?
This woman
I don't
who
get it.
didn't listen to every expert who told her it was impossible, who lied to she lied to wait, I have it written down. She fooled experienced investors, government officials, media outlets, the head of the science department at Stanford, Walgreens. Um, she lied about the Edison being in hospitals and deployed in the military. Lied. Verifiable things that nobody checked on. How is that possible?
Right.
Everyone thought that everyone else
Right.
asked all the questions. Everyone said, well, this person and this person
Right.
and this person is on the board, so they must have done their due diligence. So I'm going to jump in, feet first and not look where I'm going. And that's the way it went,
Hmm.
right down the line.
It's amazing to me the number of people who have throughout this story that were willing to suspend all of their common sense. Like
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
And it just, for some reason, with this woman, it just flies out the window.
And
And you
she
don't know why.
and she knew exactly what she was doing, the way she set up her business. They separated the engineers from the chemists. They couldn't talk. So it was basically set up to fail because if the engineers are working on something and it can't be done in the lab, the lab is coming up with protocols and the engineers are coming up with machines and nobody's talking to each other to see if the two are compatible. So they just and there's an
Right.
endless turnover of new people who have to get up to speed and start from scratch. She replaced a lab director with a dermatologist at one point.
A
A
dermatologist.
dermatologist.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the same as she had, war generals on her board and basically not one medical, I think maybe she had one medical person in her whole, turnover of the board, but not someone who was in blood work or, blood testing. So she knew
Right.
how to avoid, she avoided women on her board because women saw right
Mm-hmm.
through her every time. She knew who to
Absolutely.
get. She knew who to
Yeah.
get. She knew exactly what she was doing. I she batted her blue. I even think she wore contacts for her like press to make her big eyes bluer.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like those blue
of
eyes are
course.
like blue, and now they're not that blue anymore when you see her
Mm-hmm.
on video. Yeah, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah. There is one thing I am curious about, in particular with the board. With the, and you just brought it up, with the lie that she was telling to people about this thing being used in Afghanistan and on the battlefield, all this nonsense. I
Medevac
get why,
helicopters.
I get why people on the outside, or even just people on the board and people from the outside looking at her board and seeing people like James Mattis would think, oh, he's on the
It's
board,
legitimate.
so I can see that this, they
Yep.
would think that. But
Right.
my question is, with Mattis, he knew that wasn't true. Why did they keep him like isolated from everybody? Like, did he not know?
I don't think so. I think they kept stringing him along. Somebody had to inform him that this was not true. Or maybe it was the Ebola thing that I was thinking
Yeah,
of. But yeah, no, I don't think he knew, but he should have been in a position to know. I don't know. I have to look into that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
That one kind of threw me, like
Yeah.
everybody else not knowing that was a lie. He should have known that was a lie. So I'm very curious as to how they got away with that lie with him.
Yeah. She's got
Absolutely.
yeah, she had
I
balls. Balls.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Cojones.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
fact she's walking around right now looking for
Ye
investors
Yep.
tells you all you need to know
That's
about the
crazy.
size of her balls.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's impressive. It's
Unbelievable.
incredibly impressive. So
Yeah.
let's run through real quick just some of the things that happened this week.
Now, I was going to say that one thing I have to say is that thank goodness Tyler Schultz was Tyler Schultz. Like,
Thank you.
if he wasn't who he was, this would have taken maybe so much longer to come to light. Like, I know Erica Chung, who I think testified this week, was also, number one
She did.
whistleblower. But if it wasn't for him and being willing to come forward and him being who he was, because even his grandfather didn't believe him at first. And
Mhm.
I find that totally shocking
Right.
that he wouldn't believe
Yeah.
his grandson who worked in the lab. Like, really. But yeah,
Mhm.
thank God he was who he was. They were able to fight in court.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank goodness for him because he really was. And you know what? Thank goodness for his parents. Like that his parents were paying like $400,000 for lawyers for him and like supporting him. The
Yeah.
fact they were willing to sell their house if it
Yep.
came to it.
Yep.
I mean, thank God they supported him because otherwise, I mean, what 22-year-old college kid do you know is going to be able to spend $400,000 on lawyers?
On lawyers, right. Nope.
Probably not
Nope.
that many.
Nope.
More than likely.
Right.
So this week, like you said, Erica Chung testified, and that was interesting to see her. The way that they kind of cross-examined her, basically saying, "Oh, well, you're not an expert, so you wouldn't know."
Right.
Like that to me, I was like, "Really?
Right.
We're gonna argue with that?"
Right. She was in the
Like,
trenches. She was trying to make her dream work, and she's not an expert. Okay,
mm-hmm.
sorry. I disagree.
The head of the lab that testified, because basically she was the one who printed off the emails. This I thought was interesting. A little tidbit that came out this week was I can't say their name. It's too long and I know I'll butcher it.
I've
But
heard,
she
yeah,
actually was scared she was going to get blamed. She was scared she was going to get blamed, so she actually printed off emails and smuggled them
right.
out of
Oh
Theranos
my God.
with her,
Yeah.
which the fact you had to smuggle
I
anything
know.
out, like it reads like a Grisham novel.
The
It doesn't read
atmosphere,
like even real life.
the atmosphere must have been so oppressive and stressful. I can't even imagine working there.
Yeah. No, I would have had a stroke.
Yeah.
It, I
What'd
would
she
have
say? A
been
year? I can't
really
even imagine
upset.
staying a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This I thought was an interesting little tidbit from this week. This is from a Wall Street Journal article. Who is the author on this? This is by somebody named Sarah Randazzo. She said, during opening statements, prosecutor Robert Leach described how Ms. Holmes told Theranos' technology, or told investors that Theranos' technology had been validated by 10 of the 15 largest pharmaceutical companies, a claim he said was outright false. Mr. Leach showed jurors a document with the Pfizer logo that he said Ms. Holmes portrayed to investors as evidence of the pharmaceutical giant's support. In fact, it is a forged document. Pfizer didn't, and this is his quote, Pfizer didn't write this. Pfizer didn't put its logo on this. Pfizer did not give permission to put its logo on this. Pfizer did not make the conclusion in this report.
Nope.
So Pfizer did have a $900,000 contract before 2009, but after seeing the crummy results, they ended it. They were like, no, not at all. So who would have forged that document? Do you really think that was just going to be some peon?
No.
Or do you think that's going to be Elizabeth Holmes?
I think it was Sonny. He probably was the more tech savvy.
Yeah, and the two of them thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I was like, oh, hello.
Yeah, the whole fake it till you make it just went too far with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't
Absolutely.
fake it till you make
Because
it
they
with
really did think it
patience.
was a software
Right,
issue.
right.
And the fact that they still don't seem to understand that.
As John Carreyrou said in this week's podcast, you can't the software is only as good as the information that it's processing, and I don't know if he put it that way, but if the blood results are not accurate, then the software is not going to help you. It's not going to be accurate.
Right. Here was another little tidbit that came out this week that I was like, whoa, hello. Court filings show the extent to which Theranos tried to keep former employees from talking about the company after they left. Records detail $150,000 paid to the investigations firm Interfor and private investigator David Fetchheimer for what was listed in records. This is what they literally called it. The E. Chung and T. Schultz project.
Oh my God. How much? $150,000?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
A reference to Erica Chung and Tyler Schultz, two junior Theranos employees who quit over concerns, etc., etc.
Wow.
$150,000 worth of private investigators following these two poor kids around.
Yep. Crazy.
I hate to break it to somebody who thinks that Elizabeth Holmes just believed what she was doing was so right. If you have to spend $150,000 on private investigators for two kids with no power in this world, no authority, no fame, no money, nothing, what do you think? Do you really? You're going to think that what you're doing is on the up and up?
You don't try that hard to keep something secret if what you have is legitimate.
Absolutely.
If what she had worked, she'd be shouting it from the rooftops. She'd be bringing it to everywhere. She'd be demonstrating it on live TV. It's ridiculous to think that she didn't know it didn't work, or
Well, she was out there shouting from the rooftops, but she was shouting from the
but it
rooftops
was
and
a
saying, "Look
lie.
at this, it works, blah
Lies.
blah blah." But
The
then she was like,
lies.
"Oh, but it works, but just trust me, it works. Don't actually look at it. Just
Exactly.
trust me, it
Yeah.
works."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. And let's take a look here. There was one other thing. Text messages from April 2015 included in court filings show Theranos had its sights on a partnership with Highmark Incorporated, a healthcare company in Pittsburgh. Ms. Holmes texted fellow Theranos executive Sunny Balwani, Highmark CEO 100% done deal, and that another Highmark executive apologized for not working with Theranos sooner, acknowledging it was a huge mistake. Theranos never launched a blood testing partnership with Highmark. Highmark spokesman Aaron Bilger said, "A proposal was presented to us, like the many we receive annually on new ventures. After further review, the decision was made not to invest."
Oh my God.
The lab director's testimony also brought to light that Theranos had a $288,000 contract in its early years to provide cartridges and devices to the American Burn Association, a group that helps burn victims through research and services. On cross-examination, Ms. Yam said that the work was done in connection with the Defense Department. The American Burn Association didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Prosecutors allege Ms. Holmes and Mr. Balwani lied to investors about having a profitable business relationship with the Defense Department and having Theranos' technology deployed on the battlefield.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It really, just the amount of money that this woman was able to get. I know Tanya must have said it at least 10 times in our Theranos series, like, why can't we meet people like this? Like, we've actually got some ideas. Like, this girl. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I had. I just kind of wanted to run through the little juicy tidbits
Yeah.
from this week.
Yeah. There were a few.
That's really what I got. But was there anything else that kind of popped up this week with it that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I'm interested in whether they're actually going to go with that, you know, abuse, I was under his spell defense,
Yeah.
or, I
Yeah.
mean,
What is the alternative?
that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know. There's a lot of evidence of him being abusive. So, I mean, it's not that much of a stretch.
Sure.
But I don't understand why he wouldn't be allowed to defend himself against it. Like,
Well, two things can be true at the same time.
mhm.
She can have been horribly hurt, but she could also have broken the law.
I don't even believe the abuse, actually. Because if you listen to the
Really?
podcast,
That you
yeah,
don't
if
think
you
Sunny
listen,
abused her?
no. If you
Mhm.
listen, have you listened to I think it's the episode 2, episode 3 of the new
Mhm.
podcast, Sunny and Elizabeth, all the
Yep.
text messages back and forth.
Yep.
There's a lot of him worshiping her. There's a lot of him trying to bring her down to earth. There's a lot of him being the more reasonable one and trying to get her to understand certain
Mhm.
things. And uh, eventually he just gave in to what she wanted. But I don't, if they're allowed to bring all those texts in, I don't think her defense of being coerced is going to fly. And I think they're allowing them.
I think Sunny Balwani is abusive, but I think
Definitely.
he's abusive to his underlings.
Definitely.
I don't think he was
Definitely.
abusive to her.
I don't think so at all. I think he was enamored of her. I think he would do anything he
Very
wanted
much so.
for her. Anything she wanted for her.
Mhm.
And like you said, both of those things can be true.
Like, he hitched himself to her rising star,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
wasn't going to do anything to jeopardize that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. I think, I mean, even though he was in the background in the first, 5 or 6 years, whatever it was, I think
Mm-hmm.
her inclination was to be private and secretive, and I think she is the one who set that bar. I don't think he had anything to do with her being willing to lie to get the money to fund her dream, because I think she did believe the dream
Oh,
for a
yeah.
very, very long time, and may still, like you said, may still believe it,
Mm-hmm.
and was just
It's possible.
single-minded and unwilling to concede that maybe she set her sights too high. And there was that
Mm-hmm.
interesting experiment in the inventor where with the dice, do you remember that? Where people were
Yep.
they were more they were more willing to lie and lie more easily when they thought they were lying for a good cause. They were hooked up to the
Absolutely.
lie detector, and it didn't register after a while when they were told that the charity was going to get the money that they were scheming. But yeah, I think that played into it.
Mm-hmm.
She thought, well, eventually it's going to happen, and I'm going to make this breakthrough, and we're going to change things, and it's good for mankind. And I think she was just willing to lie, believing that it would still happen one day. But you can't do that. You know, you can't do that
Mm-hmm.
in medicine.
No.
It's not, like they said, it's
No.
not a
Not
buggy
at all.
phone app.
No.
You can't beta test on live
Mm-hmm.
patients.
And that's what drives me crazy about that first investor, that guy that was wearing the tie with bitcoins on it in the
Oh,
documentary,
yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Draper.
Yeah.
To this day, he still defends her.
And there's
To
another
this
guy.
day, he
There's another
still
guy who's
defends
defending
her.
her. I forget who he is. Dean Haven, something. I think he was interviewed, and he was like, "Oh, I
Oh,
think he still had good things to say about her, you know, that she was a victim."
yeah.
He
I
actually
can't
said
remember
she
his
was a
name, but I know who you're
victim.
talking about.
Yeah. She was a victim of the,
She's not a
Silicon
victim.
Valley culture. I mean, how much do you think that's going to play into it? That this was an acceptable way of doing business.
Oh, they're gonna try to make it play.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There's,
they're trying to make that argument.
yeah,
Really, they are,
yeah,
and it's gross.
yeah,
It's a gross argument.
yeah.
We are not talking about an app that gives you puppy dog ears.
Right,
We are talking about a medical product.
right,
If it's available to the public, it better be right. It better be working. And
right.
if it is part of a beta test, you need to make it clear
Make it
that this is
clear.
part of a
That's
beta
right.
test.
They
We
could
have
have
not
gone
worked
that
out all the
route.
bugs.
I think they would have avoided a lot of problems if they had done that, but she couldn't admit it. She couldn't admit it because she had told 10, 12 years worth of lies that it's been in use for, 10 years. She can't all of a sudden now say, "Oh, it's a little
Right.
buggy, it may not work.
Right.
Maybe you want to try it." Oh God.
Like,
It's
just an FYI,
yeah.
it might have some problems.
Yeah, we're
Like,
trying,
okay.
but it may not be there quite yet. You'll let us
Oh
know.
my.
That's the biggest thing is how she thought it was okay. I mean, lying to investors, okay. Making impact on people's lives
Patience.
is how do you live with yourself? Knowing they had to avoid what?
Yeah.
Millions of tests? A million tests? Something like that. They had to avoid all the tests that were done in Arizona and California.
I mean, just that woman that was given, the one that jumped out to me, that woman that was given the false HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just imagine like
Yep.
her life for the next few weeks and then to find out it was just wrong?
Right.
I mean, and I hate to say this, but I mean, had that person in the that wrong information given to the wrong person could have led somebody to suicide,
Exactly.
thinking that they were
Exactly.
like,
And the thing is, I think Erica Chung brought it out that they were cherry picking results to send to the FDA, but they were sending any old and every
mm-hmm,
old result to the patient without any thought.
regard.
Yeah. Okay,
And
really?
that's what I want to ask the people who defend her, where I'm like, okay, so you go to your doctor and they run a test and they tell you you have HIV when you don't. Are you going to be as forgiving if it was you? I doubt it.
Or you have
I
cancer
doubt
when you
it.
don't. Or you're
Don't
losing your
tell me.
baby when you're not.
or that you
don't have
perfectly
something that you
healthy
do.
when you are about
Yes.
to die.
Exactly. I think it happened that way too.
I really want to say to those people, that defend Elizabeth
Yeah.
Holmes and are idolizing
What are
her
you
for some
thinking?
stupid reason. If it were you,
Your mother,
were
your
you,
daughter, your son.
you would just be okay.
Right.
Just a little bit of empathy here would go
Empathy.
a long way.
Try just humanity.
There you go.
It's
You
just
make a fair point. Just
it's
try to be
just
human.
mind-boggling that she could just live with herself, go to sleep at night, not give a thought, not give a care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
she
then
really didn't.
and
She
then I
really
love how she
didn't.
sat in front of the SEC and like with their messy hair and her big eyes and her no makeup and oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that number. I don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't know anything.
Mhm.
Nothing. She didn't know anything.
Of course not. All of a sudden, she's a ditzy blonde.
Yeah.
And you're like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and the voice. The voice.
Ugh.
The voice. I wonder if she gets on the stand, what voice she's gonna use.
The voice drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so curious about that.
I know.
I'm really curious
Yeah,
about that.
that'll be fun.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you
Okay.
so much
Oh, you're
for sitting
welcome.
down with me and doing this. I really, really appreciate it. I've started putting together an
this
outline.
was fun.
Good. I'm glad. Well, we're gonna do this again when you and I explain the whole Ebola thing to Tanya.
How do you keep her from not finding things out? How do you keep her, like, she always seems to like hear everything for the first time when you two talk. Like, how does she not go and research? I mean, not that I love it, but I'm just saying I would not have that self-control. I would have to look it up.
Here's the thing you have to understand. Tanya is a mom to so many people.
Aw.
Like she's got her 2 kids, and then her agents that work under her, they're like her kids. And she's constantly taking care of everybody else. So she doesn't really have the time to like sit
It's great though.
do this.
It works.
And she knows I'm going to tell her about it. So she's like, okay, whatever. So she
It
just doesn't
works.
pay
I
attention.
love
'cause
it.
She knows I'm going to tell her about
I
it.
love her spontaneous reactions. They're hysterical.
They're the best.
Yeah.
She fires it off so well.
She's got
that-
some great
yeah,
takes.
it works out great.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
fun.
she does. She's so quick. She's so quick
Definitely.
with that response.
Definitely.
You're just
I love
like,
her.
"Ah." All right. Well, I will keep in touch with you through that Ebola outline, and we'll have you back on with you, me,
Okay.
and Tanya.
Great.
But thank you so much for doing that.
Thank
And
you for
anybody
having
who's
me.
listening, any questions, anything you want us to talk about, shoot us an email at qisandcucumber@yahoo.com. So until next time, I'm Laura Mack.
I'm Alexandra Trujilli.
There we go. Love your faces.
Exit stage left.
There we go.
Like what you hear? Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcasting platform. And follow us on our Facebook page by searching Q as in Cucumber. Don't forget to check out our other show, hosted by me and Jessica James, called The Parent Memoirs. And we want to hear from you. Share your stories by emailing us at qisandcucumber@yahoo.com, and you might just hear your stories on a future episode. Love your faces!
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.